Okay, let's unpack this. Um, have you ever stopped to consider the incredible scale of the truly tiny yet absolutely critical components that make modern medicine possible? We're talking about things so fundamental, so ubiquitous, you probably never give them a second thought. But, well, without them, the entire healthcare system kind of grinds to a halt. Today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly one of those hidden but essential sectors, the global IV Flush Syringe market. Our mission today is really to cut through the data, extract the genuine insights, and maybe some surprising facts from the comprehensive source material provided by Cognitive Market Research. We want to give you, our listener, a shortcut to being truly well informed about this specific, incredibly important market. And what exactly are we talking about? Well, we're focusing on those pre-filled syringes used to flush intravenous lines. They're crucial for ensuring IVs remain clear, preventing medication interactions, and maintaining sterility between doses. A small but absolutely vital step in virtually every IV treatment, critical for patient safety. The numbers are frankly eye-opening. This market alone was valued at a robust 288 million USD back in 2021. Is projected to hit over 360 million USD by 2025 and then surge significantly to a staggering 563 million USD by 2033. That's a consistent annual growth rate, or CAGR, of nearly 5.75% over the forecast period. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is how these numbers aren't just, abstract figures on a spreadsheet. They represent countless individual acts of patient care happening every single day. This consistent and robust growth directly reflects the increasing importance of safe IV medication administration across hospitals, clinics, and healthcare facilities worldwide. It's a powerful barometer, really, for the foundational demand in modern healthcare. It shows us a constantly expanding supply chain dedicated to essential patient safety protocols.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. So when we start looking at the regional performance, one area it stands out as an undeniable powerhouse. We're talking about North America. This region alone accounted for over 106 million USD in IV flush syringe revenues in 2021. That's a big slice. And that momentum is strong. It's expected to climb to more than 130 million USD by 2025 and then reach a massive 197 million USD by 2033. It's maintaining a solid average annual growth rate of about 5.3%. It really begs the question, what exactly fuels such sustained dominance?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, North America's position is really driven by its highly mature and extensively developed healthcare infrastructure. This isn't just about having more hospitals, but about the increasing complexity of patient care. Where more individuals are on IV medications for longer periods, driving up the need for these crucial flush syringes as standard protocol. Within that, the United States is the primary engine, no surprise there. Starting with over 88 million USD in 2021. It's projected to exceed 108 million USD by 2025 and hit over 161 million USD by 2033. That's with an impressive annual growth rate of about 5.17%. Still very strong.
So the US is clearly the largest contributor, right? But it's interesting to note the sustained, perhaps even more dynamic growth coming from its neighbors. What can you tell us about Canada and Mexico's contributions? Are they punching above their weight?
Indeed, they are significant. Canada, for example, contributed over 11 million USD in 2021. That's set to increase to nearly 14.1 million USD by 2025 and climb to almost 22.5 million USD by 2033. And interestingly, its annual growth rate of just over 6% is actually slightly higher than the U.S. figure.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which might suggest specific national healthcare initiatives or maybe a slightly faster adoption rate in Canada for certain practices. Then you have Mexico. It accounted for just under 6.8 million USD in 2021, projected to grow to over 8.4 million USD by 2025 and nearly 13 million USD by 2033. That's with a healthy annual growth of about 5.5%. So yeah, while the U.S. leads in sheer volume, the diversified growth from Canada and Mexico definitely solidifies the region's overall market strength.
That's a great point about the nuanced growth rates across the region. Okay, so if North America is the established titan, what does this all mean for other established markets? Let's take a look across the Atlantic to Europe. This region's IV flush syringe market was valued at nearly 71.7 million USD in 2021. Still quite large. It's projected to reach almost 88 million USD by 2025 and then over 133 million USD by 2033. So it's expanding at a respectable average annual growth rate of about 5.36%. Still a very significant portion of the global market, but maybe with different dynamics at play.
Precisely. Within Europe, we see a diverse set of contributors, and each kind of reflects unique healthcare landscapes. Germany is a particularly strong performer. It leads the region. Over 14.5 million USD in 2021, rising to nearly 18.2 million USD in 2025. and projected to reach over 29 million USD by 2033. And its annual growth rate of just over 6% is actually the highest in the European region mentioned.
Wow, higher than North America's average even.
Exactly. Which suggests, perhaps a particularly aggressive investment in healthcare infrastructure or maybe a faster adoption of newer syringe technologies compared to some of its neighbors.
That's quite a trajectory for Germany. And when we look at other major European countries like the UK or France, are we seeing similar trends or is it more varied growth?
It's definitely more of a mix. The United Kingdom, for example, shows solid growth. From just over 10 million USD in 2021, it's forecasted to almost double to 19.7 million USD by 2033. That's an annual growth rate of nearly 5.7%. Pretty good. France, while still a major player at 9.5 million USD in 2021, is looking at a slightly more moderate annual growth rate, around 4.8%. It's projected to reach just over 16.6 million USD by 2033. Italy is also significant, going from over 7.2 million USD in 2021 to a projected 13 million USD by 2033, growing at about 5% annually. And Spain is another key contributor, growing from just under 5.4 million USD in 2021 to over 10.4 million USD by 2033, with annual growth close to 5.7%. So it really illustrates how different national healthcare policies and regulatory environments within Europe might subtly shape these market dynamics.
It truly is clear the demand is widespread across the continent.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, even with, varying economic conditions, geopolitical stuff, the need for these fundamental medical tools remains constant. Does that consistency imply certain resilience in this sector? Is it recession-proof almost?
That's a really important question. I mean, recession-proof is strong, but the sheer consistency across Europe, even accounting for those variations, does indeed highlight the resilience and, frankly, the essential nature of these supplies. It tells us that regardless of political shifts or economic headwinds, the basic needs of patient care, particularly those tied to infection control and safe medication delivery, are, well, they're non-negotiable. They continue to drive demand across developed healthcare systems. We also see other notable markets like Sweden, Denmark, and Switzerland showing consistent growth. Even Russia, while a significant market in size, has a comparatively lower TAG, around 3.85%, which offers an interesting contrast when we think about market maturity versus maybe expansionary healthcare investments.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, now let's pivot to a region that's not just growing, but absolutely surging. The Asia-Pacific market is definitely one to watch, a true frontier of expansion, it seems. In 2021, its market size was nearly 63.7 million USD. But listen to this. It's projected to reach almost 82.7 million USD by 2025, and then surge to an incredible 139.7 million USD by 2033. This region is recording the highest average annual growth rate of all, nearly 6.8%. What is driving such explosive growth here?
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is the sheer velocity of growth. It's reflecting rapidly expanding healthcare access and major infrastructure development in many of these nations. India, for example, shows exceptional growth. Starting with just over 8.7 million USD in 2021, is projected to hit an impressive 21 million USD by 2033. Its average annual growth rate of over 7.6% is actually the highest among all the individual countries mentioned in our source material.
7.6%. Wow.
It's huge. And this isn't just about more hospitals. It reflects India's rapidly expanding public health initiatives, increasing insurance penetration, maybe a burgeoning medical tourism sector too, all contributing to a surge in surgical procedures and inpatient care where these syringes are indispensable. It's really a multifaceted acceleration.
That growth rate for India is truly eye-opening. And China, of course, I mean, with its massive population and developing healthcare system, must be a huge factor in that regional growth too, right?
Absolutely. China has a substantial contribution, nearly 18.7 million USD in 2021, rising to over 41.9 million USD by 2033. That's with a strong average annual growth of almost 7%, still very high. And other high-growth areas in the region include Southeast Asia as a whole. Their market was over 4.3 million USD in 2021, growing to more than 10.3 million USD by 2033. That's boasting an impressive 7.4% annual growth. Singapore has also on a strong upward trend from just over 2 million USD in 2021 to nearly 4.8 million USD by 2033, expanding at over 7.1% annually.
So while India is maybe setting the absolute pace, it sounds like there's a broad-based uplift across the entire region, including some of the more developed Asian economies. What about countries like Japan and South Korea? Are they keeping up with this rapid expansion?
They are indeed experiencing robust growth, perhaps not at the same explosive pace as India or Southeast Asia, given their already mature healthcare systems, but still very strong. Japan, for instance, was at 11.1 million USD in 2021. It's projected to grow to over 22.8 million USD by 2033 at an average annual growth of over 6.1%. South Korea, similarly, went from just over 5.6 million USD in 2021 to a projected 11.5 million USD by 2033 at a comparable 6.14% annual growth. Very close. And Taiwan, with over 3.2 million USD in 2021, is projected to hit nearly 6.8 million USD by 2033, showing an annual growth of over 6.4%. It underscores both increasing patient access and a growing emphasis on modern medical protocols. It's a major growth story.
It's definitely clear that it's not just the traditional powerhouses and rapidly industrializing regions. Growth truly is a global phenomenon here. So let's broaden our scope to include South America, the Middle East, and Africa. They're also showing consistent, strong growth, albeit maybe with their own unique market characteristics. Starting with South America, the overall market recorded just over 21 million USD in 2021. It's projected to rise to over 42.3 million USD by 2033. That's growing at an impressive average annual rate of nearly 6%, essentially doubling in value over the forecast period. That's significant.
It is, and within South America, Brazil leads the region in size. Started at 7.76 million USD in 2021, moving to over 15.3 million USD by 2033. That's an average annual growth of over 5.8%. Argentina, however, is showing particularly strong acceleration, from just over 4.2 million USD in 2021 to a projected nearly 9 million USD in 2033. Its annual growth rate is almost 6.5%.
Higher than Brazil's rate, then.
Exactly, which highlights increasing investment in healthcare infrastructure and access across developing economies within the continent. Different countries, different paces, but overall strong growth.
Okay, and what about the Middle East, a region we often associate with rapid development in various sectors? How does its IV flush syringe market compare?
The Middle East market for these syringes was just over 13.2 million USD in 2021. It's expected to rise to nearly 26.6 million USD by 2033, so again, roughly doubling. That's recording an average annual growth rate of just under 6%, pretty consistent with South America. Here, the UAE shows particularly robust growth, from just over 2.1 million USD in 2021 to a projected nearly 4.7 million USD by 2033. That's a strong annual growth rate of over 6.6%.
That's quite high.
It is. Saudi Arabia also contributes significantly, from over 3.7 million USD in 2021 to over 7.5 million USD by 2033, at over 6% annual growth. And Turkey is another strong performer. Over 2.3 million USD in 2021, increasing to nearly 4.8 million USD by 2033, growing at over 6.3% annually. This growth is often linked, as you'd expect, to significant government investments in modernizing healthcare facilities and expanding medical services in the region.
Makes sense. And finally, let's touch on Africa, a continent with a rapidly growing population and clearly evolving healthcare needs. What are the numbers looking like there?
Africa's market size was just over 12 million USD in 2021. It's projected to grow to almost 24 million USD by 2033. Again, that doubling pattern. The average annual growth rate is nearly 5.4%, slightly lower than the Middle East or South America, but still very solid growth. South Africa is a key player there. Contributed just over 4.5 million USD in 2021, increasing to over 9.5 million USD by 2033. That's supported by an annual growth rate of over 6%.
So South Africa is growing faster than the regional average.
Yes, it is. Nigeria also shows solid growth, from just under 1.9 million USD in 2021 to a forecasted nearly 4 million USD by 2033, growing at over 5.6% annually. These figures, they truly reflect increasing investment in healthcare infrastructure and access across developing economies. It just underscores the universal, undeniable need for basic medical supplies to support growing populations and expanding medical care everywhere.
So let's pull this all together. What does this all mean for you, the listener, and our understanding of global healthcare trends? This deep dive shows us that the global IV flush syringe market is on an impressive, indeed vital trajectory. From 288 million USD in 2021, it's expected to nearly double its value by 2033, reaching that 563 million USD figure. The key drivers seem clear: rising healthcare needs fueled by, an aging global population and increasing rates of chronic diseases, plus the ongoing expansion of hospitals and clinics worldwide. And critically, a growing vital emphasis on infection control and patient safety through standardized medical protocols. These syringes are core to that.
Right. And this raises an important question, maybe the key takeaway. Beyond these impressive numbers, this consistent, widespread growth really underscores how foundational even seemingly simple medical devices are to global public health and safety. It's a kind of barometer for healthcare investment and patient safety standards worldwide. It reflects a universal commitment, really, to better medical care for a growing global population. Perhaps what's most significant is that this isn't just a market for some specialized item, it's almost a proxy for the baseline health and expansion of healthcare systems globally. Every single country, regardless of its economic stage, seems to be prioritizing this essential, everyday tool.
And that pretty much wraps up our deep dive into the global IV flush syringe market. Who knew, right? Such a specific, almost hidden topic could offer such a fascinating glimpse into the intricate world of healthcare economics and global health trends. We hope you feel a little more well-informed now and perhaps a little more curious about the vast, complex ecosystem that supports our health every single day.
Yeah, and as you reflect on these numbers, maybe consider how the silent, consistent demand for devices like the IV flush syringe is really a testament to the ongoing essential work of healthcare providers and public health initiatives every single day, everywhere.
Wait.
What other unseen aspects of our world might be experiencing similar quiet revolutions, driving progress in ways we often overlook just because they are so fundamental? Something to think about.
Absolutely. All the figures and insights we discussed today were sourced exclusively from Cognitive Market Research. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive.